morning and welcome to Best Medicine with me, Gaytana. Now, I've got quite a program for you. My first guest, Danielle Boyle, founder and CEO of ITP, is waiting on the line, and then at about 10:20 I'll be speaking with Juliet Middleton, CEO of Live Big. We're going to talk about emotional regulation and the practical support parents can give to their children who have autism or a disability, and we're looking at it as, of course, as an essential life skill and an essential assistance for families. And then I've got some other issues to talk about, a lovely article that in many ways is very heartening. But first, Danielle Boyle, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Gaytana, for having me.
Oh, such a pleasure. Now, it's ITP Awareness Week, 22nd to 28th of September. And people, it's Immune Thrombocytopenia. Now, that's a mouthful, and that's why it's abbreviated to ITP. Whatever you prefer. Yes, but we're going to find out.
It did take me 6 months to wrap my tongue around that, so I do understand it. It's okay. Yes,
and it's helpful to people, whatever is helpful. Now, we'll talk in a moment in some depth. We'll hear from you. But I will say it is held to be a rare and invisible autoimmune disease. So people, why am I telling you about and having Danielle tell you about something rare? Because you may not know that someone in your neighbourhood, even in your extended family, a friend, a colleague, somebody around you may have this. And it's very important to know about it because while it doesn't show up obviously, it can impact their daily lives. And we need to know to be supportive around the people, don't we, Danielle?
That's correct. That is correct. It's an invisible disease. It's, as you said, it's rare disease as well, and it's not quite visible. So people wouldn't automatically know this person has ITP.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There are other things too that are invisible, and people don't broadcast to all and sundry. Oh, I've got this condition, and we shouldn't have to, but we do need to know about it. So, look, tell us about the symptoms and impacts. And I did look up a couple of sources, Mayo Clinic and Better Health Channel here, and is it still a case of there's an acute form and a chronic form? So give us the basics about all these elements of the symptoms, etc.
Okay, so simple rundown. What ITP is effectively a low platelet count. So starting with what is a platelet. So in the blood system we have 3 cells, the white blood cells, red blood cells and platelets. Platelets help the blood to clot. So when you cut your finger, platelets will run to that or head to that area and clot that area, so it helps stop bleeding and bruising, etc. People living with ITP have a low platelet count. So generally, people with a healthy platelet count live with a platelet count between 150 and 450,000 per milliliter, whereas people living with ITP can live from 0 to 100, generally safely around that 50,000. I think my lowest personally was 6,000. So it can get quite scary. Symptoms definitely include bruising, bleeding of the gums, nosebleeds, heavy menstruation and abnormal menstruation. There's also petechiae and purpura, which is sort of like petechiae, like little pinpricks, red pinpricks up and down the body, and purpura are slightly larger but not quite as deep as a bruise. And the big one, which is actually an invisible symptom, is fatigue. A lot of patients do experience not just tiredness but actually brain fog, and there's now new research indicating there's some reduced cognitive function as well.
Wow, that's a lot to live with. It really is. Yeah. And also I gather from what I've read, and correct me if I'm wrong, they say there's no actual cure.
No, there is no cure for the disease. So currently, right now, a lot of the treatments are helping to either increase platelet counts or to reduce bleeding. So they're the two contributing factors. Effectively, people living with this autoimmune disease, their body is either attacking platelets, it's reducing the platelet production, or a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So we don't quite know. There's no definitive test to identify this person has ITP. It is a process of elimination because there are a lot of reasons why you would have a low platelet count.
Yeah.
So a lot of the testing around ITP is full blood count, a lot of immune function testing and a physical examination, but also a full family history as well. So there's a lot of reasons why you would have a low platelet count. So it's a process of elimination.
Yes, and please don't jump online and look up some sort of doctor situation there and try and diagnose yourself. And
No, definitely not.
And a lot of the symptoms are common to other conditions. And this is why, again, get to your doctor and certainly get, as you said, Danielle, not only give the symptoms, but they'll need to know something of history and other things. And, you can ask for various tests and ask the doctor to consider various possible reasons for your symptoms, but don't try and diagnose yourself. It's not a good idea. It's never a good idea.
No, well, there are a lot of really good specialists right around Australia looking after people with this particular platelet disorder, and a lot of the information that you can actually find on our website as well.
Good.
So we do work with a really robust medical team as well to make sure that we provide adequate information, correct information.
Give us the website straight away and then do it before we sign off, okay?
Okay. ITPANZ.org.au. Really simple.
Yeah.
ITPANZ.org.au.
As in Australia New Zealand. That's what it's short for, the ANZ.
Correct.
Yes. Now, I noticed you mentioned, things to stimulate platelets, and that, I guess, would depend on whether the thought was they're being destroyed by the immune system or whether they're low for other reasons. That interested me. I noticed it said thrombopoietin, is it analogues?
Thrombopoietin receptor agonists. So we call them TPORAs to shorten and to make it easier to digest.
Right. And so is that to stop something that reduces the production of platelets, since you say an agonist?
So, so what it does, it actually stimulates the bone marrow and the megakaryocytes in the bone marrow, and I'm throwing a whole lot of scientific information out there to help generate and produce more platelets.
Good.
So if your body is destroying them, you've got more in the system for them to to destroy. So you're throwing more in, even though you're destroying them, but it does help increase your platelet count. Yeah.
Yes. And as we were mentioning, you've got to have those platelets. You do not want to be bleeding if you've got a small cut or a nosebleed or otherwise. So, it's so important. Now, we know a little bit now about some of the treatments. Is there much research going on? We haven't talked about causes. I gather that they're not entirely sure, but there are some they think suspicious things that can happen perhaps post certain viral infections or whatever. Is there any research going on into what could be causing it?
Yes, there is a lot of research happening internationally.
Good.
We're lucky in Australia. There are currently 9 or 10 clinical trials on new therapeutic treatments available, currently running, which is just excellent. It is a brand new. I think a lot of pharmaceutical companies are really going, autoimmune disease, ITP. If it works for this particular treatment,
maybe
we might be able to. And a lot of them seem to be sticking, which is excellent. So, because not every treatment will work for every patient, and not every symptom. So, you could have a low platelet count, but not actually be bleeding. So, every patient, is very different. We classify it as a snowflake disease. It's just as individual as what each patient is.
And isn't that then important for the medical fraternity to know and listen to patients? I think that's one of the key things. Listen to patients about their particular situation, and that will help, I think, inform how you treat the patient, what sort of things, what you test and what you try out and what you look for from the international trials and national trials, etc.
And that's correct. So we do heavily focus on shared decision making when it comes to treatments and next steps through the ITP process. So it's a mutual discussion where we look at patient outcomes. What does the patient actually want to achieve with their particular treatment?
Yep.
And then from there, there are general discussions on the pros and the cons of each treatment, and then they go from there. So we strongly recommend shared decision making.
Excellent. I think more and more there is an awareness of the need to listen to patients, and that is very vital, really. Even when you've got more conditions and illnesses and diseases that are more prevalent, you still need to listen because there will be differences for each patient. It's not as though we're all going to fit the textbook. That's the thing,
no,
isn't it?
Exactly. And this is the beauty of having organisations like ours as well. We understand, there's over 3,000 rare diseases. So clinicians, doctors, GPs, haematologists can't be up to date on every single new development. So we talk directly with healthcare professionals as well with regards to ITP to give them copies of guidelines, new treatment options, talking to them with regards to clinical trials as well to help them provide a better outcomes for patients as well.
Excellent. Now, I noticed in the stuff that when I had a look, that some children can develop ITP after, say, a viral infection or whatever, and quite often it will resolve and they will be all right. But then there's the chronic kind of ITP, and do we know which is more prevalent? Do we know whether if adults develop it, they actually get just the acute one or they get more of the chronic?
Yes, so there is a lot of research happening internationally, and we do know that 80% of children are likely to go into remission after the first 3 months. So classified as acute. If they do make it to 6 months, another 10% tends to go into remission. So a very small portion of children living with ITP do go into chronic ITP, but there are a lot of treatments available. As for adults, we do there is a larger portion of patients who do become chronic patients. Yeah.
Right. Now, let's have you share your own experiences because you yourself have ITP. Can I ask, without being too intrusive, about what age did you develop it?
So I was officially diagnosed just over 10 years ago, but I believe that I'd had it for a number of years beforehand because my husband and I used to play spot the new bruise every morning.
Yeah.
So I always just thought that I bruised like a peach, and I had a few other symptoms as well, and it was a chance diagnosis for myself. But I was diagnosed in the right hospital with Australia's leading haematologist. So I was in the right place at the right time. So extremely lucky, yeah.
And are you finding one of the treatments is helpful to you, or one or more?
Yes, so I was on one of the thrombopoietin receptor agonists, or TPORAs, for a number of years, and then things got a little hairy, a little dicey. That treatment stopped working. I ended up trying another 8 or 9 treatments and ended up having a splenectomy, which was a personal choice because the spleen can be responsible for the platelet destruction because all of the cells go into the spleen to clean the system and the spleen takes out all of the old cells. Unfortunately for me, the splenectomy did not work, and that's common.
Uh-huh.
But it was a heavily educated decision, a heavily educated choice. Even though I had Australia's leading haematologist as my clinician, I still had a second opinion. Yeah. So I was really, really made sure I did all of my research, and then after a couple of months, I actually started back on the thrombopoietin receptor agonist, and since then it has been working and been working effectively, which is excellent.
Yes,
but not every patient is that lucky.
No.
I know a number of patients who really do struggle to find a treatment that works for them. While there are so many treatments available, it doesn't mean that any of those treatments are effectively going to stick for those patients.
And from what you've said, there's an area of research developing some sort of tool that helps the clinicians to test whether or not the spleen might be the naughty thing that is involved or not. Because if you can not have the removal of the spleen, that would be good. If if we could find that really it's not the primary enemy there, that would be helpful, I would imagine. So there's an area for them to research and see if they can develop something that will help decision making.
Yeah.
That would be very good.
There is some research being done at our ANU at the moment with regards to platelet function and trying to identify which treatments will work for which particular people. So a lot of work is actually being done in that area, which is excellent.
Well, that is superb. Look, I'd love to talk longer, but I've got to come to the break. So I hate to sign off. We must talk again, and please keep us going with any important updates on research and things. Send stuff to me.
Will do.
That'd be lovely. And remind people again of the website, please, Danielle.
itpanz.org.au.
Great.
And you can always get in contact with us via email as well.
Excellent.
Through the website.
Thank you so much for your time today, Danielle, and all the best to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaytana.
Pleasure. Bye-bye. Just absolutely wonderful. What a superb person. She's doing a great job there.